there for the AMMA. Poor guy. I don't know why you volunteered to do that, but hey, I'm glad it's you and not me. Uh, so Greg understands the TT. Greg understands how to work with the TTB. I don't know if he actually understands the TTB itself, but he knows how to work his way through the system, and he's giving a talk about that at the AMMA conference next month.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting because I guess I said yes to this job, and I thought I could help in politics. I'd worked in politics for a while, and the big secret about politics is that whether it's in campaigns or bureaucracies, it's all just like pyramids and pyramids of people who are mostly all just trying to do a job. And so when you think about it, like the TTB, and it's this like faceless alphabet soup bureaucracy to a lot of people, it's like, how could anyone work with that? And then when you realize that it's just a group of people that are trying to do a job that is often as frustrating to them as it is to, meadery owners, it becomes a lot less daunting. And a lot of those, solutions and things that appear as conflicts are really just like us trying to work through the same outdated series of words together. And that's what I've spent a lot of the last year doing. That's what a lot of my talk's going to be about in Interlaken. So
that's really, and it's funny. People do. I mean, we tend to kind of view the TTB as this big, ugly monster place that hates us. And from
Yeah.
and well, and I mean, I have not had. I'm not a meadery owner, so I don't interact with them a lot. But I have been talking back and forth with a couple of TTB reps to get them to come on, so we can do. AMMA wants to do a town hall meeting with a TTB person, so our members can come on and ask questions. And Greg has helped me, gave me some links and some contacts, and it's been like pulling teeth. Because I email them, and like a month and a half, 2 months later, they email me back. And then I email them back, and 1 or 2 months later, they email me back again. So I'm guessing that they're overworked and understaffed and probably undertrained. And like you say, they're just as frustrated as we are. I mean, especially because we're coming in with something they don't know anything about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as soon as they do know it, the laws change.
Yeah.
And now they have 50,000 new pages of stuff to read over, some of which are bad, some of which contradict other things that are already in the laws. And then it's dropped on them, and okay, good luck with this, guys. And so, that's a lot of it, and it is, but I think that's like all of us, right? Human nature. You think of these big bureaucracies or big government bodies, and it's like they're scary. Right? I mean, it's an old Reagan line of like the scariest words in the English language are "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." But the reality is that like they're not. I mean, for the most part, they're just people like us. They're just trying to do a job, and jobs. The reason you get paid for them is because they're not fun. Only crazy people like meadery owners get paid for what you do for free. But. So a lot of it is just sort of kind of understanding, and then like I've talked to people at the TTB and various agencies, like even just the idea of like trying to do a town hall with a bunch of meaderies, you'd think this is a very straightforward thing, right? We would want to do this if we were the government. This thing a government should do is allow the regulators to talk to the industry in such a way that there's some dialogue. Well, except who can speak on behalf of the government is simply regulated. Someone has to say yes to this. This request needs to be put in. It needs to get kicked up a chain of command. So the people you're emailing may well be like, yeah, why can't we just do this? But someone else has to say yes. And I don't, for those of you who pay attention to our government right now, there's a lot of posts that aren't even filled. Like there's a lot of jobs. It's just like there's nobody there to do it. And so this gets a lot more annoying and complicated than I think, a lot of people realize, because all we tend to see on the Mead side is just rules telling us things we can and can't do that are, again, often contradictory, often consistent, and, it's natural to be frustrated with it.
Yeah. Well, did you see? I forget who it was, but posted in the AMMA group today or yesterday, saying they have like a template label that they're using.
Mhm.
Right, and two of them got approved and two of them didn't, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get the other two that didn't approved on precedents for the other two. And
Yeah.
So it was Jason. I hope
It was. Oh, it was Jason
sorry
Phelps.
for
Was
blowing
it?
up your spot,
Jason Phelps, yeah.
Yeah, it was Phelps. Yeah, sorry, Phelps, if you were trying to keep that under wraps. But I mean,
Hey, he posted it, dude.
so you've got a name. In his case, shameless plug here for Jason. Ancient Fire Cider and Mead.
Yes. Good
Well,
stuff too.
the brand name has great stuff. It has the word mead in it. Well, not everything that a place that makes cider and mead might make can be by law called mead.
Yeah.
So now you've got, if you're a poor person reading the label, a beverage that might be, say, a piment, right? Which can't be called a mead by laws. You're reading this, and it says mead in huge letters at the top, and you, the person reading it, are like, this is the place's name. Of course we should be able to put it on there. But the letter of the law says you can't. So now, again, this comes down to a human decision of, can I, do I know all these rules inside and out? Can I kind of let this one go? Is this one allowed? Is this one not allowed? And to say that we're in the deeper weeds of the Code of Federal Regulations is to put it we're in the deep rough. We're in very tall grasses here. This is stuff that even the kind of senior specialists there, this doesn't come up that much. And it's not clear what the rules should be on any of these given things. And so a lot of it is about judgment calls. And about whether or not, things can be tweaked in such a way.
And chances are you've also got 3 different people handling the different parts of it all and may have come to different conclusions about it.
Right. I mean, so, I would have to look at the exact numbers, but the team at the TTB that reviews these labels, remember, this team is responsible for every wine, cider, and mead label in the country. It is just so many tens of thousands of these, and it's a team of people looking at them.
And yet they're getting approved in 1 to 2 days, so they're being pretty darn efficient, if you ask me.
They're being, and they've really stepped up in that regard, and those of us who, have meaderies of a certain age now, remember when it took weeks?
Yeah, I do. I remember when people would apply for their license and it would take 9 months. Now licenses are coming through in 30 to 60 days. And, Yeah,
I wish we'd had that.
Although you were in the middle of that 9-month period thing. That was not good.
Yeah, I mean, although again, that was honestly an important experience for us because that was kind of the first time we learned that, the people on that side of the government are really potentially incredibly helpful. Big shout out to Patty from Cincinnati, who was our specialist for getting our license, and we had filled something out that we did not totally understand on our application, and she called us to be like, hey, you filled this out a certain way, this means X. If you put it Y, it's a lot better for you. And that was just a human being being like, you clearly didn't totally understand this, there's a better way to do this, and it really helped. Wow. And that's really informed a lot of the way that I think we approach our dealings with the TTB and to some extent with the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.
Well, that's a whole other animal there from what I've heard.
Yeah,
I lived in PA for 3 years, so I don't understand it from your end, but I certainly saw what was happening at the other end, for people who just wanted to get the stuff.
It's quite a system we have here in the Keystone State. But I mean, there really are these dialogues that you can have that can help you as a meadery owner really, and again, these, as you said, these things come back now in 24 or 48 hours, and there's a human being, and you can call, and you can talk about it, and they know what you're looking at, and you can talk about the issues. If the specialist you're talking to doesn't really have their head around the finer points of Mead, there's senior specialists you can talk to kind of get some QA and to get a better understanding of the rules that are being enforced and that are on the books. And then, as if the rules on the books being vague and occasionally contradictory and not dealing with Mead, even if those weren't enough, there's also like informal rules internally that the TTB decides to follow at certain times. And, we're trying to do a good job at the AMMA of keeping everybody up to date on that. But these things come out every so often. And again, having those conversations is sometimes the best way of understanding what the powers that be have decided to kind of allow to go through. And that's really been kind of the big thing as far as, this whole new world that we've got. The TTB has been so great as far as being responsive. We can have those dialogues now. It was much more challenging, 4 years ago.
Yeah. I just say
maybe they're just figuring out that having everybody speaking the same language and all being on the same side makes the paperwork everywhere easier for everyone. And then you don't end up, if you just explain it to someone properly the first time and you know what you're talking about when you do, then it means that they don't have to submit it 5 times and you don't have to review it 5 times.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think it's tough to be too hard on anyone involved here for, the people who wrote these. I mean, some of these liquor laws, we got to understand, these things go back, to prohibition, to the end of prohibition. For them to not have foreseen a vibrant and diverse mead industry is somewhat forgivable.
Yeah.
The fact that they can't figure out a way to make it so that, I could make a braggot, without being a brewery owner, there's some rules that are really dumb, even in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because whenever you sit down to write rules about things and you set up classifications, okay, we're going to have breweries, we're going to have wineries, we're going to have distilleries, we're going to have all these things, right? And I think we all agree, like, there need to be laws and rules. Like, nobody thinks alcohol shouldn't be regulated at all. You can't just let anybody set up, weird equipment in a garage and start selling it to people. That's not a good plan.
No. And then you end up with bathtub gin.
But the thing is,
right,
if you make it too difficult for people to do it legally, they're just going to do it illegally.
And there is some of that going on. I mean, in all parts of the craft alcoholic beverage industry has its share of people that are like, to hell with the rules. I'm tired of this crap. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do.
Or they find out ways around it, like, they're serving it in their tasting room for free as opposed to charging money for it, which means they don't have to have the, as I understand anyways, you can serve your experimental stuff in your tasting room as long as you're not selling it.
Well, it depends on
and that's a whole...
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole other part of the law, whether it's federal or state or anything, and, you talk to anyone in enforcement, and they'll tell you this, like, here's the problem is we'll write a bunch of laws and rules, and we'll say, okay, you got to do these things, and lawmaking bodies always forget to put in, like, a mechanism for enforcement. Like, what happens if you don't do it? And so, in Pennsylvania, I've talked to LCB employees where it's like there are entire, big retailers in violation of a rule, but no one bothered to write in what happens if you're in violation, so you can't even punish them. All you could do is it's like writing them a ticket with no fine. So you've got these guys, and you say to them, this relatively small force, like, hey, it's your job to make sure alcohol is sold legally and safely by the people who are supposed to be doing it in the way that they're supposed to be. Then you're like, all right, sweet, I'm going to go out and do that. You get there and you're like, sweet, I caught you. You are doing something wrong. You are a bad, bad retailer. And I am going to give you this piece of paper that says you should definitely stop.
Or you just like point your finger at him and go, no, bad retailer.
Right.
No.
Can you imagine how frustrating that is for the people who are like trying to enforce the rules? They're not even like, they don't. What happened to the office?
Make them
Nothing really.
like stomp in their little jack boots